Abduction of Ukrainian children. Putin's arrest warrant issued by ICC. This is what we're going to talk about today. Hi, I'm Elena, creator of political channel Enough. I'm from originally from USSR and Russia, and I'm living in Canada for over 18 years now. And I deeply researched the war in Ukraine, which started by Putin in 2014, and situation in Ukraine before that. So on my channel you will find all the information about propaganda, fighting. I'm fighting propaganda on this channel. You'll find the truth about the war in Ukraine and what is happening. Today we're going to talk about the people you see on this picture. So the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for arrest of Russian President Vladimir Putin and actually another person. This lady, Maria Lvova-Belova. She is a Russian Presidential Commissioner for Children's Rights. We will talk about why it's happening, what is actually happening with Ukrainian children, why Russia kidnapping them and where they are, how many of them were kidnapped, and why exactly this warrant issued and what it means for Russia, for Putin, for the rest of the world. And let's go. These are the camps where the Ukrainian children relocated from Ukraine, and we will go back to this this map from Crimea. Partly they were relocated into Crimea, Moscow, Siberia, even up to the other coast of Russia. So it's all over Russia. 43 camps, re-education camps, not just camps to hold Ukrainian children. They're getting heavily brainwashed and re-educated in Russian. You can read indoctrinated in Russian propaganda, and this is what we're going to talk about today. It's Deutsche Welle news. I'll show you a little piece. You can watch it yourself. It's in English.
The ICC, or the investigator of the ICC, is saying that there are reasonable grounds to believe that Mr. Putin bears individual criminal responsibility for these crimes.
What crimes they are talking about? There is a very good article of Al Jazeera. All you need to know about the ICC arrest warrant for Putin. But we will talk about it in general ourselves. So the International Criminal Court accusing Putin of responsibility for the war crimes, of illegal deportation of children from Ukraine. And not just children. This is the definitions of war crimes and stuff like that. And one of this, unlawful deportation or transfer or unlawful confinement of people. It's not just Ukrainian children who get forcefully removed from the territory of Ukraine, or for example, from Mariupol. Many people didn't want to go to Russia, but they were forced to, because basically the corridors which were supposed to be established for people could move either to Ukrainian side or to Russian side. The corridors going towards Ukrainian side, Russia was shooting at people who trying to go through those humanitarian corridors. But today we're talking about just children, and so this is a crime. Forceful deportation or transfer of people. It's a war crime. But this is not just a war crime. When we're talking about children, there is a convention, Geneva Convention of Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. In Article 2, second article, saying that forcibly transferring children of the group to another group, like from Ukraine to Russia, it's a genocide. It's not just a war crime, and it's not somebody's opinion. This is the law, international law, which Putin denies. And also important to know that these crimes, international court believes that Putin personally responsible, and it's actually very easy to prove. In a way, it reminds me the case of Al Capone, who was famous gangster, but he was arrested for tax evasion. So this case is very easy to prove, and I'll show you the proof a little later, just now. And the same warrant also issued to Maria Alexeyevna Lvova-Belova. Russian Commissioner for Children's Rights. ICC President Petr Hoffmansky told Al Jazeera that it's completely irrelevant that Russia has not ratified the Rome Statute. And according to that ICC statute, 123 states are parties of that statute. And whole international community, basically, it's 2/3 of international community, the vast majority of international community, has jurisdiction, and the courts have jurisdictions over crime committed on territory of the state party or state which has accepted its jurisdiction, and Ukraine did accept it. So we will talk a little later about what it means for Russia, but in general, I wanted to show you who is that Lvova-Belova is, and what are the proofs that Russia forcefully deporting Ukrainian children, basically stealing them, kidnapping them, abducting them. And this is what she has to say.
Я попал в пекло.
I went into hell.
То есть я пришла, началась спецоперация.
I came to this position and Russian special military operation started.
Начался Донбасс, начались дети.
Started Donbass, started children. Well, she's lying right there. The situation on Donbass was peaceful. Nothing was happening there before Russian military units, Russian army came to Crimea and annexed Crimea. I have the whole playlist about Crimea. I'm finishing it now, but there is a lot of information there already you can watch. When the Girkin Strelkov, FSB officer from Russia, Igor Plotnitsky, FSB officer from Russia, came with the Russian bandits and started the war in Donbass in 2014, nothing was happening there. And to say that Donbass started just now, in February 2022, is a lie. It's not true.
И вот это все. И мне, честно, не стыдно.
And all of this started. Honestly, I'm not ashamed of it.
Ну вот за этот год не стыдно, потому что
I'm not ashamed for this year.
мы, мне кажется, с командой выложились даже не на 100%, там на 150%.
Because I think me and my team, we just worked so hard, not even 100%, but 150% hard.
В апреле на Всероссийском форуме «Жить и воспитываться в семье» Львова-Белова заявила, что оставшихся без родителей детей из ЛНР и ДНР будут устраивать в российские семьи.
In April, Lvova-Belova said that children who left without parents in so-called Donetsk People Republics and Republic and Lugansk People Republic, they will take to Russia and give it to Russian people to adopt them and put them in Russian families. And basically, she was making a lot of statements. She is herself married to a priest and they have children of their own and adopted children as well, about 5 children or so. And the kidnapping of Ukrainian children was going on in different ways. There is a whole website, Ukrainian website, Children of War, from 21st of February 2022 to 17th of March 2023. 16,226 children were deported, according to National Information Bureau. According to Ukrainian information, and only 308 children were returned. I will show you today some children who were returned and stuff like that. 464 children died, 935 wounded, and 385 missing. And so this is the website about that. But we can talk about a little longer. And this boy, Maria Lvova-Belova, kidnapped from Mariupol, basically, and took in her own family, because she claims, I looked at him and I just felt he's mine. Before Russia started to attack Ukraine, bombing Ukrainian cities to the ground, bombing Mariupol to the ground, 95% of the city destroyed. These children peacefully lived in their families. Some of them were in the orphanages as well, but vast majority of children were living with their mom and dad in their families, or maybe just mom or just dad. There was not need to be rescued. There was not need to be saved. As Russia claimed, they saving their children, bombing their parents, killing their parents, and then saving the children. This is war crime and genocide. This is what it is.
Мы были в Одинцово, в санатории Поляны. К нам постоянно кто-то приезжал. Ну, то есть какие-то люди постоянно приезжали, но что-то опрашивали.
He is saying that when they were transported to Russian sanatorium, people were coming to them, something questioning them, this and that. Somebody was always coming and so on. And then...
Настолько надоело. И в один момент приезжает Маша.
And in one moment Masha came, so her came one time.
И мы вышли сразу, побежали, мы с ними там на контакт. И смотрю, группка подростков такая, типа в отдалении, с таким презрительным видом, типа...
And I saw that children was running around, some of them come to us, but I saw far away the group of teenagers was kind of standing and looking at us kind of angrily.
Пришла, тут нам тут что-нибудь рассказываешь?
Well, you came to us, what do you can tell us? Yes, it's true. You killed their parents, and now you came to do what?
Среди них был Филипп.
And Philip was among of them, those group of teenagers who were skeptical and kind of showed animosity towards the people who came.
И я в этот момент, разговаривая с ним, я не знаю, что это такое. Я просто поняла, что он мой. Что вот это мой ребенок.
In this moment, talking to him, I understood all of a sudden that he is my child, she's saying.
Интересно, что сама Львова-Белова не скрывает. Украина требует вернуть всех детей назад.
This is a channel Popular Politics, and they saying that Maria Lvova-Belova is not hiding that Ukraine demanding to get their children back. She knows about it.
К ней даже обращалась вице-премьер Ирина Верещук.
Vice Premier Irina Vereshchuk from Ukraine was appealing to Lvova-Belova.
Она отметила, что в Украине есть семьи, которые готовы принять вывезенных в Россию сирот.
She was saying that there are families inside Ukraine who want children back, who want to take even orphans back into Ukraine to their families.
Но такое решение явно не вписалось бы в пиар-стратегию российского омбудсмена.
But it wouldn't fit into PR strategy of Lvova-Belova. This is what Lvova-Belova herself is saying.
Верещук запросила назад этих детей на
Vereshchuk asked these children return back to Ukraine.
каком-то основании непонятном.
For some unknown reason. Yeah, unknown reason. Ukrainian families want their children back. What unknown reason? Why would you want your children back? Do you have children? I do. Would you like your children to be taken away from you? I won't. Some people maybe for a moment thinking, well, good luck to the people who get my children, but this is not the case with Ukraine. And jokes here, just... I joked, but I have heavy heart about this, and so will you in a minute.
И сказала, что есть законные представители, которые готовы их принять в свои семьи. Ну,
So that Ukrainian representative we just saw said that there are legal representatives of these children who wants them back.
например, приемная семья уехала в Германию, почему-то оставила детей, непонятно.
Some of they were adopted, but somehow they get separated. She wondering why the family who adopted them somehow ended up in Germany and the children get left in Ukraine. There is wars going on, you know. These people get bombed, killed, and kidnapped and separated during the war. She apparently unaware, maybe, that the Mariupol was bombed into the ground. For some unknown reasons, children get separated with their families.
Понятно, теперь она хочет их забрать.
And now she wants to take them back. So Lvova-Belova clearly on this video stating that Ukraine wants their children back.
Но, собственно, моя задача действовать в интересах ребенка.
But she said, my task is to work in the interests of children. Oh yeah, taking away from their families, murdering their parents, definitely in the interest of children. I don't think so.
И мы начали спрашивать, ребят, ну вот вы говорите, там, Россия плохая.
And we started to ask children. Oh yeah, they asking children, all right. I know exactly how they asking children. But nevertheless, that's what she's saying. We started to ask children. Okay.
Ну дайте возможность
Russia is bad, you think.
ну, как бы, хорошо, пусть Россия будет плохая, у вас есть возможность сейчас вернуться.
Okay, Russia could be bad, but now you have the opportunity to come back.
Никто из детей не захотел возвращаться.
Nobody from the children wanted to come back. Yeah, you would believe that right away. So am I. Of course they wouldn't, because they forced, scared, tortured. Some of them are. I have the witness who say that. I have the information that we will talk about later. It's not just taking away children from parents. It's about their re-education. And whoever disagree with that re-education, saying that Russia is bad, Putin is a bastard and a war criminal, or they're getting re-educated. They send it in the camps, real re-educational camps I just showed you in the beginning. Then Lvova-Belova started to say that people, the children and orphans who they take away from Mariupol, they taught in their new families how to love Russia and their negativity towards Russia, animosity towards Russia, which they have rights to be, turning miraculously into love to Russia. They're learning how to love Russia.
Мы привезли из Мариуполя группу детей, 30 человек, которых
We brought from Mariupol a group of children, 30 children. So this is the war crime she's talking about. She's proud of it. She admitting it on camera that they kidnapped in Mariupol 30 children.
нашли в подвалах,
We found them in the basements of the city.
которых бросили приемные родители.
And their adoptive parents dropped them and dumped them. And Russia rescued them.
И эвакуировались без них.
The adoptive parents get evacuated without them.
Ну, то есть оставили их по факту в такой
So fact is they left them, just left the country without them or the city without them.
в трудной ситуации, да, и когда мы их привезли на территорию
In such a difficult situation, they were left alone. And we came and we brought them to Russia.
Московской области, чтобы они немножечко восстановились.
We brought them to Moscow region, so they little bit get kind of feel better, recover.
Началась история про то, что там негативно отзывались о президенте.
And then they started to negatively say bad things about Russian president.
Да, говорили всякие гадости, пели гимн Украины.
They told bad things about Russian president and singing hymn of Ukraine, the national anthem of Ukraine.
Украине, слава Украине, все
Glory to Ukraine, they were saying.
такое. Но прошло немного времени.
But little bit time passed.
А эти дети попали в приемные семьи Московской области.
These children were given to be adopted to the families in Moscow region.
Один из мальчиков попал в мою семью.
One boy get to my family. This is the boy we just saw.
И я на глазах вижу, как эта интеграция начала происходить.
And I could see right in front of my eyes how that integration started to happen.
Львова-Белова попала под санкции Великобритании.
And that is why Lvova-Belova was under sanctions of Great Britain,
Австралия, Евросоюза,
Australia, European Union,
Канада и США.
Canada, and United States. Some children from some families were returned. This man actually got his children back. He's a single parent. And actually Lvova-Belova did help them in a way, because she brought children telephones and give them SIM cards. That is why when the children were just about to be adopted by Russians, they called to this boy called to his dad and said, this is what's happening. So, of course, dad did a lot of things to make sure his children get back.
Бурная фантазия.
Звонил бы я прям так папе срочно из-за бурной фантазии.
And Russian authorities were saying that the children has just such a vivid imagination. They invented that they was going to be adopted. And Matvey Mezhevoy, the child, son of Evgeny, this man, he's saying, oh yeah, right, I have a vivid imagination. Do you think I would have called you immediately just because I have vivid imagination? No, I called you because we was just about... he had the reasons to call his dad. Because he didn't want to be adopted in Russian family. He has his own dad and he wants to be with his father. This is what's happening. This is what Russia did. And this is what President of Ukraine Zelensky said. It's some of the worst Russian crimes and military war crimes and genocide. Russia shelled and bombed Ukraine and then decided to take Ukrainian children. This is the whole politics of Russia. So deported children forgot about Ukraine and they couldn't come back. And Mr. Zelensky is right. I have a proofs. There is even videos for this is TV channel Rain, for example, that the names of the children, some of the little children were changed. They get Russian passports. They change their names. So even finding these children would be a big problem now. Because they're not just adopted. Their names changed. It's a big crime, a really serious crime of Russian Federation committed, beside the war in Ukraine and aggression and murder a whole bunch of people. It's this is the crime they actually can be really easily to charged with. It's a kidnapping of Ukrainian children. There is also on Twitter very interesting Lesia Vasylenko posted at the time of 6,000 proven cases, but there are much more proven cases now. And this is what Ukrainian Mr. Kuleba has to say.
Russia is now implementing in Ukraine probably the largest instance of state-sponsored kidnapping of children in history.
According to the state portal, 16,221 children were deported to the Russian Federation.
This is Daria Gerasimchuk, Presidential Commissioner for Children's Rights and Child Rehabilitation from Ukraine. Well, at the website I just show you, it's already 16,226 children.
The Republic of Belarus, or forcibly relocated to the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine. It was possible to return only 307 children.
There are at least 5 scenarios.
Right now it's 308.
Russia exploits to deport Ukrainian underage minors. And one of them is the so-called...
So, she's talking about 5 scenarios. I'll just a bit elaborate on that. So, for some children, their parents killed. For some children, they don't know what happened to parents, and parents don't know what happens to children. Their parents may be alive. Abduction directly from the family. How this happened. Some of the situations happened in right before the war, or just when the war I not mean the war started in 2014, but I mean right before the full-scale invasion on 24th of February 2022. Several Russian organizations, some Russian organizations offered some Ukrainians, most likely pro-Russian Ukrainians, I'm not sure, that their children would have been sent to some sort of a, like in my time in USSR, we have some sort of a camps for improving children's health, or just for kind of like summer camps and stuff like that. So we will take your children temporary for taking them away from the war while it's all maybe settled down. Parents might have thought to send the child in that camp for a month or a couple of weeks. It wasn't sound like a bad idea. So Russians came with buses, there were teachers looking after children, so they were loaded in the buses and sent to Russian Federation. And some parents agreed with that. It was not many children, but few of the whole part of kidnapped children. Some was removed that way. And then when the war started to continue and Ukrainian parents understand they want their children back, Russians either deny them, or they said, well, yeah, you're welcome to come in person into Russian Federation and take your child. How do they expect that gonna happen? Ukrainians cannot just cross the border right directly from, even if they have territory which has a border with Russia. They can't just go there. The war is going on. They can't do it. Many of them, houses get destroyed. They do not have any money. So they have to go all around Ukraine on the other side. And Ukraine is a big country. Go to some places like, I don't know, Baltic countries or something, or any other country who has border with Russia, and go in a roundabout way. And where would they have an opportunity or money or anything which they possibly can do that? Next scenario was separation infiltration camps. So some Russians or some Ukrainian people, as a family, were forcefully or voluntarily relocated to Russia during the war. Like in Mariupol, as I told you, there was a humanitarian corridor go to Russia, or you can go to Ukraine. But in this corridor, people get shot when they're trying to leave. So they kind of forced to go to Russia, no matter they want it or not. And in those filtration camps, which Russians basically strip search people, looking for a sign of swastikas on the bodies and everything, humiliated people, they separate families, and children were taken away from some parents, because parents maybe look suspicious. Maybe he's a Ukrainian spy. So their children were taken away, and then they disappeared. The parents, if they survived that ordeal and they find out that they're not Ukrainian spies and they were released in some other camp, they can find their children. Displacement institutions in the full stock. They talking about that right in the beginning of the war, Russians came with buses and started to load, especially from those so-called Donetsk, Lugansk republics, they started to load orphanages, like whole orphanage. And in one of the TV Rain or Popular Politics videos I just showed you, there is a whole piece about some doctors even trying to falsify documents that children cannot be transported, because otherwise they will be loaded in the bus and moved to Russia. They don't have parents, they're in orphanage, so nobody can immediately complain about that. And the fifth is creating conditions unfit for life. So they bombed Ukraine for no reason whatsoever beside Putin's ambition, and that would make unsafe for children to live in Ukraine. And then they show up such a glory savers. They bomb the city to the ground, kill parents, and then they show up and grab the children. So this is the war crime and a genocide. That is how it is.
To hand over children for rehabilitation and rest.
Russia purported to temporarily evacuate children in Ukraine under the guise of a free summer camp, only to later refuse to return the children and to cut off all contact with their families.
According to Yale Humanitarian Research Lab, at least 6,000 Ukrainian children were forcibly transferred to so-called recreation camps across Russia since the start of the full-scale war.
The number is significantly higher than 6,000, but 6,000 is the number we can corroborate and verify with 100% confidence.
It is the largest transfer of children since the Holocaust.
Spread across 43 facilities, some are in Moscow-annexed Crimea, Siberia, and along Russia's far eastern Pacific coast.
So this is the picture I showed you earlier. This is what happened. This is why Putin condemned as the order for his arrest, the warrant for his arrest was issued. This is why Maria Lvova-Belova had also warrant for her arrest. And a Russian reaction was, of course, deny. This is Maria Zakharova Twitter. She said that the decisions of ICC doesn't mean for Russia anything, even from the legal point of view, because Russia isn't a participant of Rome Statute. And we don't have to do anything about it. And we're not cooperating with this court. And it's just, by the law, doesn't mean for us anything. So Russia doesn't care, it seems to be, but it's not true. What's gonna happen if Putin or Maria Lvova-Belova cross the border with any of the 2/3 of the countries of international community who part of that agreement? Then they can be arrested in any of these countries and they would have stand the trial. This is number one. So for Putin, the limited amount of countries he has to, he actually can't travel or go for some reason, closed. And the fact that he is a president of the country doesn't mean anything for that, because this is how the law works in that case. So they were situations when the presidents and the leaders of the countries were stand the trial. And so Putin basically, his window of the countries he can go just shrunk. Plus it's a big deal in international law, and it's a big deal for us. So any politicians now will think twice before shaking Putin's hand, because he's a kidnapper, he's a murderer, and he's supposed to stand the trial. Yeah, international court cannot call him war criminal and kidnapper before the trial. I can. I'm not international court. This is my channel and I do what I want. What I think right. And to me, that case is proven just now, what I showed you. And Putin is not only personally involved, he talked and praised Lvova-Belova, that's what she does. And her job title is the Russian Presidential Commissioner. So she works with president, you saw them on the pictures together, and there are videos where Putin publicly praising Maria Lvova-Belova for her work. So it is known to Russian Federation government, to the government of Russian Federation. It's known to Putin, it's approved by Putin, it's proven that he is guilty. And so is Maria Lvova-Belova. But I'm not the court, so it's not my place to say that. For sure, I said it because I wanted to, and because I'm right. And you will see that the court will prove what I said, just even by those proofs I just showed you. So, for Russia, it's very, very unpleasant. That's why the Harvard tweeted almost like and some other Russian authorities just jumped in seconds after that information was released that Putin has arrest warrant. They just jumped to the opportunity to say, well, it doesn't mean for us anything. Yes, it does. And I believe Putin will be in court, and this is one of the reasons why he will be there, because the arrest warrant already issued for one of his crimes, and just a fraction of the crimes he committed. But this is the first step, and it's done. Glory to Ukraine. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.